The biggest mistake you are making right now with the narcissist in your life is trying to communicate with them. You think if you just find the perfect words, they will finally understand your pain and apologize. Listen to me. Communication only works between two healthy, self-aware people. Every time you explain how you feel to a narcissist, you are just handing them a loaded gun to use against you later. You cannot out-argue them, but you can neutralize them. Give me 10 minutes, and I will show you how to shut down their attacks in exactly 30 seconds. Welcome back to the Behavior Code. I am here to remind you that every manipulation tactic has a pattern. You aren't crazy, you just haven't decoded it yet. Today, we are going to decode the anatomy of a narcissistic argument. We are going to look at exactly why they push your buttons, and I'm going to give you the ultimate override code to take your power back instantly. First, I need to validate your exhaustion. The exhaustion you feel in this relationship isn't because you are weak or because you are doing something wrong. It is because living with a narcissistic adult is literally like living with an adult-sized toddler. A toddler's tantrums are time-limited, but a narcissistic adult's tantrums can last forever, and you are constantly forced to manage their unpredictable immaturity. You are tired because you are constantly trying to play by the rules of a healthy relationship, while they are playing by an entirely different, unbalanced set of math. To neutralize the narcissist, we first have to understand what is actually happening in their brain when they start a fight with you. When you get into an argument with a healthy person, the goal is resolution. You talk about your feelings, you find a compromise, and you repair the rupture. But compromise is simply not a thing in a narcissistic relationship. For them, an argument is not about finding a solution. It is a battle for dominance and control. Narcissistic people are like prize fighters. They can go all 15 rounds just to wear you down. They use a tactic called rage baiting. They will intentionally say something inflammatory, unfair, or deeply hurtful just to get a reaction out of you. They know exactly what your vulnerabilities are because they studied you during the love bombing phase. And now they are weaponizing those exact fears against you. Why do they do this? It comes down to emotional regulation. Narcissistic people have a deeply hidden underbelly of shame, insecurity, and a remarkably fragile ego. When that fragile ego gets triggered by anything, a bad day at work, a perceived slight, or someone disagreeing with them, they feel entirely out of control. Because they cannot self-soothe or process their own shame, they have to project it onto you. So, they provoke you. They throw out false accusations. They deny your reality, a classic form of gaslighting. They throw word salad at you, bringing up something you supposedly did 5 years ago just to confuse you. And human nature dictates that when someone accuses us of something untrue, our immediate instinct is to defend ourselves. So, you raise your voice. You start explaining. You might even start crying because the injustice of their lies hurts so deeply. The moment you react, the trap snaps shut. Notice what happens to them when you get upset. They suddenly calm down. They might look at you with contempt and say, "Wow, you really need to calm down. You are acting crazy right now. Why are you so dramatic?" By making you look unhinged, they suddenly feel powerful and regulated. Your emotional reaction is their narcissistic supply, and they just stole your peace to fix their own bad mood. Here is the plot twist, and it is a harsh one. You have been taught by society, by self-help books, and maybe even by couples therapists, that the key to fixing relationship problems is better communication. You believe that if you just find the perfect words, if you explain your feelings clearly enough, the narcissist will finally understand and apologize. But in a narcissistic relationship, communication does not work. There is no perfect sequence of words that will unlock their empathy, because their empathy is broken. Trying to communicate your deep feelings to a narcissist is like trying to get blood from a stone. You are hoping for accountability and genuine respect, but those things will never materialize. In fact, explaining yourself is incredibly dangerous. Every time you explain how their actions hurt you, you are handing them a customized manual on exactly how to hurt you worse the next time. When you try to be straightforward and honest, you are bringing your best self to someone who only views you as an object to serve their needs. You cannot out-argue a narcissist because they do not play by the rules of reality or logic. If you keep playing their game, you will simply collapse into a state of total emotional exhaustion and helplessness. So, we have to change the game entirely. This brings us to the 30-second neutralization strategy. To shut down a narcissist, you have to starve them of the one thing they are fighting for: your emotional reaction, their supply. Here is your 3-step override code for the next time they try to pick a fight. Step 1. Shift to radical awareness, 0 to 10 seconds. The second they make a false accusation or say something cruel, your heart rate will spike. Catch that feeling in your body. In the first 10 seconds, instead of opening your mouth to defend yourself, pause. Shift your mindset into radical awareness. Radical awareness means you see the situation with absolute, clear reality. Remind yourself, this is not a conversation. This is an adult toddler having a tantrum to regulate their own shame. You are dealing with an impossible situation where you cannot win. They are rage baiting you. Do not pick up the rope. Step 2. Engage the D.E.E.P protocol, 10 to 20 seconds. For the next 10 seconds, mentally lock down your defenses using the D.E.E.P protocol. D.E.E.P stands for don't defend, don't engage, don't explain, and don't personalize. Do not pull out your text messages to prove them wrong. Do not explain why their words hurt. Do not personalize their insults, because their insults are actually just projections of their own self-hatred. You must accept that their distorted reality is their problem, not yours. Step 3. Deploy the yellow rock script, 20 to 30 seconds. Now you have to respond, but instead of fighting, you're going to use a technique called yellow rocking, or what I like to call the Teflon code. You are going to be polite, slightly pleasant, but completely impenetrable and boring. You give them a polite Mona Lisa smile, give a small head nod, and say a completely neutral filler phrase. If they accuse you of something ridiculous, you simply shrug and say, it appears we are having very different experiences of this situation. Oh, wow. Interesting perspective. I see. Well, I have to go check on dinner now. Then you physically remove yourself from the room if possible. That's it. 30 seconds. You didn't yell, you didn't cry, you didn't defend yourself. You just became a smooth, boring, gray rock that gave them absolutely zero emotional supply. Now, I have to warn you about what happens immediately after you successfully execute this 30-second neutralization. When you stop reacting, the narcissist will realize they have lost control over you, and they will not like it. They will experience a sudden drop in their narcissistic supply. In psychology, we call what happens next an extinction burst. When a behavior stops working, people will often try harder before they give up. The narcissist will likely escalate. They might throw harsher insults, They might call you cold, unfeeling, or accuse you of giving them the silent treatment. They might try to provoke you by attacking your deepest insecurities just to get a rise out of you. You must hold the line. Getting to a place of true indifference is the ultimate unmasking of the narcissist. When you become indifferent, you become practically gaslight-proof. Their words bounce off you. Eventually, because you are no longer a reliable source of drama and emotional supply, they will have to give up and look elsewhere to regulate their fragile egos. You essentially disempower the relationship by taking the gunpowder out of the keg. I know this is incredibly difficult. For highly empathetic people, remaining emotionally flat feels unnatural and even cruel. You might even feel guilty, as if you are the one being manipulative by not engaging. But remember, you are not manipulating. You are surviving. You are simply putting on psychological safety goggles to protect yourself from flying debris. If this video felt like someone finally turned the lights on in a dark room, please hit the subscribe button. By subscribing to the Behavior Code, you are joining a community of people who are choosing to see reality clearly. This channel is here to be your weekly validation, to remind you that you are not crazy and that you deserve psychological safety. If you have ever successfully shut down a narcissist using a neutral phrase, I want to hear about it. Drop your best yellow rock responses in the comments below so we can all learn from each other. Living with a narcissistic person can make you feel like you are entirely powerless. But your power doesn't come from winning the argument. Your power comes from realizing that you never had to play their game in the first place. Remember, the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. Protect your peace, stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you, and keep decoding the behavior. I'll see you in the next video.